What's up, guys? Gonna do part 2 here for demonstrating some things about the game. We're gonna go back on my character here, and I will show you the differences in strength weapons versus dex weapons. I'll show you a few different types of magic, and I'll show you pyromancies, sorceries, and miracles. So I'll just go through that stuff, and then that'll basically be it for this video. I just want to demonstrate some of the things here. There's a few different types of weapons. Probably one of the best types of dex weapons is either the Great Scythe, like the Scythe class, or the thrusting weapons. But there are many strength weapons here first. Good option is the Zweihander, but I really want to show like the big weapons, like the Dragon Greatsword is a pretty good strength weapon. Let's see. I've got the Estoc, which is a dex weapon. That's one of the thrusting swords. Let's see here. It's another good strength weapon. Demon's Great Hammer. Um, these are spears, more dex weapons. Halberds, also dex weapons mostly. Here we go, the Great Scythe. That's a good one for dex. Excuse me. I could show bows and crossbows, but they really aren't that great in this game. Let me pull out a talisman just to use for casting the miracles. So first I'll show you some of the move sets of the weapons. We'll start with the Great Scythe. It's a pretty cool looking weapon, you know, big ass scythe. You got moves. This is the one-handed R1, one-handed R2, running attack, jumping attack, and then the rolling attack. And now for the two-handed, R1 again, R2, jumping, running, and rolling. Pretty straightforward there. Good weapon, probably one of the best dex weapons in the game. So I don't have the required strength to use this with one hand, so I'll just show it to you with two. And a really cool thing about a lot of special weapons like this one, the Dragon Greatsword, is they have unique two-handed R2s. So like, you know, it's got the normal R1 side slash for a greatsword, and then the R2 is just a colossus smash that sends out a seismic wave. It's fun to use. It's massive damage, but it's very slow. Same sort of deal with the Demon's Great Hammer, except this doesn't have the uh, special move. It's just a big overhead smash. And then there's just the side smashes like this for the R1s. So strength weapons are slow, massive damage, and dex weapons are quick, efficient damage. I'll go attune some spells and start showing off the sorceries and pyromancies and everything else. So I'll attune some basic sorceries here, like Soul Arrow. Whoops. You can see here these are just variations of Soul Arrow, and then there's like Soul Spear, Magic Weapon, that kind of thing. And then I'll show you the Dark Magics. So, Soul Arrow, pretty straightforward. Just you shoot a little magic arrow forward. Homing Crystal Soul Mass. There's also Homing Soul Mass. Crystal is just the higher level form of the magic. You have these five floating little balls of magic over your head, and when you get near to an enemy or lock onto them when you're facing them, all the little balls will fly at them and deal big damage. But if you're not facing them, they won't shoot, only if you're facing the enemy. And they can fall off if you hit them on walls like that you saw there. See? Now you're just left with the one, and they wear off eventually. Crystal Soul Spear is the more powerful version of Soul Spear. I'll shoot it off into the distance here. As you can see, it's a very powerful spell. Not a massive range, but just massive damage. Crystal Magic Weapon, I believe I showed this before, but uh, buffs your weapon. Pretty straightforward. Dark Bead is one of the most powerful spells in the game. Actually, it is the most powerful spell in the game. It shoots multiple projectiles in a cone in front of you, and if you're close enough to the enemy, then all the projectiles will hit them, and it'll just deal massive amounts of damage. Lastly, Pursuers is the dark magic form of Crystal Homing Soul Mass. So it's the same kind of deal where you have the floating balls, but they move a lot slower when they're going towards your enemy, and they deal a lot more damage. So a little bit of lag right there. It's fine. Now I will show some miracles, or not. I don't have very much faith in this character, actually. But I can tell you a lot about these miracles. Heal, pretty straightforward. You cast it and heal. Soothing Sunlight is a heal over time, like Replenishment and Bountiful Sunlight. You cast it, and it heals a small amount of HP over time for a set period of time. Force is a spell where you just emit a circle of force. Actually, I can demonstrate this one. I have enough faith for that. Wrath of the Gods is force that does damage. Emit Force is force that you can shoot forward. Magic Barrier is a self buff where you make your character more resistant to magical damage. That includes Pyromancy's Dark Magic and Miracles. Homeward is a spell that returns you to the last bonfire you were resting at. Seek Guidance is not important. It's not a combat spell. It's very, very irrelevant. Karmic Justice is a miracle that you cast before a fight, and it explodes after you take a certain amount of damage and deals a ton of damage. Vow of Silence makes it so that people around you can't cast spells. Sunlight Blade is a buff like Great Magic Weapon, except it buffs your weapon with lightning rather than magic. And then this is a spell that makes swords come up out of the ground around you. So I'll quickly demonstrate force here. As you can see, it's just a wave
of force that comes